there's a multiple issues. One is my own property. I have 13 ash trees with ash or disease. And they're going to be, I've been dealing with it for about a year. And I've talked with 4 different companies. Finally, it's going to get done in August. One of the reasons that I'm having it done is if you watch the top of the trees down. And I have on the walls, the right side of my home, if you on the right side, a long stone wall between this, I believe that the property owner now and myself. I have like 3 ash trees, but there's another one that's on the town's property.
Oh, okay.
And it's big. It's huge. It's as big as some of the ones that I'm making down. So, and what I've been told relative to the issue is that they die and it's not a gift but just when. And I don't know, but I can cite anyways, if he's not, it's a danger now. He could refund. So, again, I'm having all that done, and there's one out there that
Great.
we want to take a look at.
So we had an issue with a tree on town property, actually down in Hilton, which we took care of. So we'll have somebody come by, take a look at it, and I presume we'll arrange for it to be taken down if it's on town property.
And there's another tree that's just fallen, and some fell into the road, and on the town property. And so we were having to drive around with it. So I went to speak with Sue about it.
Yep.
And the fireman sitting right there, it was there, and he said, "Oh, okay, there, that's big more," and he cut the top off of it. So this Iowa road is laying down, has a lot of trees out on it.
Yep. And just to let you know, and this came up actually when you sent that email. There's a variety of trees that are tagged, and we talked about earlier in the year, that are due to be removed from the electric company and their contractors. So if there's stuff along the edge of the road, I think they may be able to remove some of that as they come through. But I'll definitely reach out to them and see if they can do that as well. Because they were supposed to do it earlier in the summer, in the May time frame, but they got called to do something else. So we're on the schedule to get done, but it'll probably be sometime this summer that they'll come back.
So when you're saying that they actually will cut the trees on the road that are dead, or
That are threatening the power lines.
that's running the power.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've tagged, I think there's 130 trees in town that they've tagged, something like that, something on that order, on all the roads with the power lines hit. So they'll be coming through to remove those.
The reason I'm asking you that is that because if I assume she told me I put it in for what we're talking about. She says, "Mark the trees," and I did. And she says, "It's going to be in the year," but probably last year that she told me that, so we're in this year. And so they were cutting, Eversource was cutting some accounting of the work, so I don't know what the guys said. We're not going to treat them. No, we're just cutting the branches.
Some they trim, some
On
they
dead
remove.
trees, they're cutting the branches.
They make that determination about which to trim versus which to remove. Like there's a tree in front of my house, clearly about to die, so they're gonna do a full removal of that because it's going up through the wires. But some trees are more a trim job for them. They make those determinations, so that's their job.
But they are going to cut the trees, and you're saying that
They're going to go around and do removal. All the trees that they're removing should for the most part be tagged.
There'll be a blue and white check.
Yeah, it's a blue and white check tag on the ones that they're going to be removing. And
blue and white surveyor.
yeah, if you drive up Piscasset, if you drive up Piscasset, you can see a bunch of them that they're tagged. Now, they're not gonna just remove anybody's tree from any
No, no,
property. It'll be specific to that. But, you know, there will be crews coming through here, so I'm just, you know, letting people know. There were questions asked. I know that there's some trees that were tagged, actually, I think up on Old Lee, people had questions that they hadn't been removed yet. This is why, so, you know, it's in terms of just public notice, just let people know they are gonna come through to remove, they just haven't been able to get it scheduled yet.
Next is, when I talk, the property that we can tackle myself. That is the town property, is that correct?
I believe so, yes. Yep.
Would there be a consideration in the town selling that to Ken and myself? I mean, he and I have talked.
So in order,
Clear it up.
yeah, so in order for the town to dispose of property, it has to go before the voters.
Oh,
So it would have to be a warrant article on the ballot in March. Town would have to vote to approve the disposal of the property under whatever terms and conditions, or either in the warrant or providing the select board with the authority to basically determine and negotiate that. After that, it would have to be done as a public auction of the property or public sale. So we can't, you know, while obviously you and he are logical buyers of the property,
It can be used for anything.
we can't say, oh, no, we're selling it to them. We can't do that, that's prohibited.
So
But it can be done.
how do we start the process?
So come this fall, you know, we'll be going over the budget process and basically starting to craft the warrants. You can have a citizen's petition warrant, which you can draft up a warrant that says, you know, and you can talk to me or Sue, we have examples of sale of property warrant articles. You can draft one up, and if you get 25 people to put their signature to it, it will go on the ballot.
That's good. I see some wonderful signs that flash, that tell you the street, Old New York is a great sign, and then there's one coming from Alton. I'm wondering, what would it take for us to get a sign or two on Hall's Mill that's saying, the reason I said it, we have multiple people that have no respect for what road it is, and there's a couple of people who live on the road, and they come off of this gas and fly over the hill. Another or two people would further down. They driving by, I mean, they're doing 45, 50 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, trucks, a lot of construction trucks, and they have no respect for the speed limit. Delivery, we reported one, my neighbor and I reported person, one person to the company. We don't know what's happened. It's just, it's not good. It's not good. It's the speeding is, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, 25-mile-an-hour signs are on the road, but they're not paying a lot of attention to it. Is there some, how do we get one of those signs, or two?
It all depends on the telephone poles, the placage on the road, and vegetation is kind of very overgrown, so they run on solar. As you notice, the one on Woodbury Road doesn't come on until probably 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So we would have to inspect the area, just because of the hill, it's got to be close to the roadway. So I urge you with this issue of speeding on any road, public police department, you could aware of it, and I could put out some directed patrols. Because we get complaints in other ways of not doing it.
It's supposed to be just quiet road, dead end road, it's just turned into a road.
There, now, we get complaints from around the town.
Yeah, yeah. So, so, that's all I have.
That's it? All right, Gary.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And, I'll
Give that to
definitely,
me.
yeah, about the tree on the town property, absolutely. You're welcome to stay.
No, thanks.
Thanks, Gary. We'll see you later.
We'll take care of that.
All right. Next up, 911 Riverview confusion. So this is dealing with Lila Drive and Lily Lane. This is something Kobe's been looking into. Kobe, I'll need it before.
Roger that. We had, on 12/2/24, there was a propane tank that sit out there. It turned into kind of a GoPro. There's that cell service, the call went through. Dispatch said it was Lilac Lane, which was a mistake for Newmarket. It went back and forth. There's confusion, and you guys are off Lilac Lane, right? And so you deliver packages up to Lily Drive, vice versa.
Kind of exchange,
Yeah, so there's confusion just among folks that live on the road. After the event happened, the propane company was called to secure the propane, and they went out to Lily Lane instead of Lila. Now, I have to look at it every time because I confuse it. It's off the schedule, which one is off Old Lake. Any case, so folks that were there talked about it. The other thing we have a problem with there is poor cell service, which exacerbates the issue. I'll let Chief Young hit it in a minute, but one of the things he talked about, so local responders in town, the fire department, police department, are very familiar with the two roads, but we do a lot of outside agencies at certain hours of the fire department's ambulances, to a degree, state police and sheriffs, and they have a lack of familiarity with this as well. Lily Lane off of Skasik was created in 2017. The developer requested that name. Lila Drive was March of 22, and we have not accepted that road yet. Brian tells me we'll be accepting that probably in September. So I think the road that's appropriate to change is the Lila one. I've talked with Mark Pelzer, who's the head of dispatch in Newmarket. He said he became aware of these two names after they had been named and accepted. And had he been aware of it prior, he would have opposed the names being that close together and leading to confusion. I've also talked with Mike Kelleher, the New Hampshire Department of Safety, multiple times, explaining the situation to him. He was fully supportive of the change. He said he would come down for any hearings or events that he needed to do. He forwarded me the RSAs that are appropriate for going through the process. And also an interesting court ruling in regards to Swansea. They went through the same thing. They decided not to change it after they were cognizant of the issue, the confusion around meeting it. A house caught on fire. The responders went to the wrong road. The town said, well, we have discretionary immunity, so we can't hold this liable. The court said, no, it is a public safety issue, and you are responsible, and you are liable. One of the things that Mr. Kelleher did, and I'll segue this in, the chief talked to you guys and everybody on the road. So we're missing I think two of the residents who are there, but Chief Representative Meehan had put that you guys were supportive of finding a solution to this problem. And one of the things when I talked to the Department of Safety in Concord, they said if you can get a voluntary release from the landowners, that it will mitigate the process, mitigate the timeline for the process, and it will last extra bad. In the interim, dispatch is using a cross street as a reference to mitigate the threat so there's a lack of confusion. So if they're going to Lily Lane, let's say it's off Wisconsin. If they're going to Lila, let's say it's off Old Lake. Got a lot of support for making this switch. I think it's prudent. One of the things that, you can see a problem and you say, well, the odds against it are small. But if you've got a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or a parent there, or somebody gets hurt or is choking or something, you don't need a 15-minute delay while they go to the wrong place and try to come in here. So I think it's incumbent upon us as a board, and I'm really happy to hear you guys are supporting it, to mitigate this threat before it exacerbates itself into a serious problem where somebody can get hurt or suffer consequences we don't want to hear about. I've got in your package here, you've got the RSAs, you've got the court case, and as my conversation with Ray the other day, we do have 46 roads, streets in town, not that I'm all listed here. So my suggestion, sir, at your convenience, if you think it's minimal, you maybe talk to the landowners, there, come up with 3 names, and we decide on the order this, and we'll work it from there. But that's just kind of moving ahead, but this is the background.
Yeah. Let's hear from everybody before we start to determine course of action. You guys are all homeowners?
I'm Caitlin Demelia. I live at 12 Lyra Drive, Radius and Curd. I moved from 9 Lilac Lane in Newmarket, so that's where confusion came from. We were in California when we got the call that there was fire spreading around our home. And I'm really thankful that the first responders did get there because they could. However, learning that there were people that was around this was kind of terrifying to hear because I have a 14-month-old at home, and like you said, it worked out this time, but it's something I have to ensure. I don't want the reason that help didn't come to this to be because of being when we have been there very long, and it seems like a big quick fix and changes.
I'm at 9 Miller Drive. So the beginning, I support the change. We've had a whole bunch of inconveniences after coming in with him and such, which is not life safety. They go through a lot of that, but yeah, the change makes a lot of sense. We also have 3 children in the household, 6, 6, and 10. Maybe bring parents to visit. All it would take is one incident, and everybody would bring on in. So I'm fully in favor of making the change.
Echo everything they said, and also just want to thank you, Logan, for raising it and making it a priority, and also keep Young for stopping by yesterday and talking through it. So, we're happy to work together and come up with something for you, or whatever is the most efficient process, I think, for
So under the state statute, just so everybody understands, there are 2 ways to deal with this. One is consent to the homeowners. Every homeowner on the street would allow the town to change the name. There's also, without the consent, we're required to have a planning board public hearing with proper notice and everything else to go with that. So there is a formal process that we need to go through before we end up doing anything. So just so it's covered. I know emergency management, fire safety. Do you guys want to weigh in? Any comments?
Just, a little backstory. I know when initially that they were going to name that street, they were going to call it Lila Lane. Right. And, we stepped in and said, well, no, we had
Lily Drive. Lily.
So they ended up naming it Lila Drive. Okay. But still, when this guy called it Lila Lane, so I think that's where most of the confusion lies. Again, right now, we've got stuff across streets. I even have to do the whole thing. I was in Stratton and called him. Tom was on the first engine over there, but Ricky Glass, the chief from Newmarket, was on the railroad, and he heard Lilac Lane. So he pulls out his phone, and he saw the water, but he was actually living in Elliott, Maine. So he took a left down here, so I called him over here and said, no, it's all over you. So there was some confusion. We were there right away. We knew what was going on. But like you said, it's not just us. We use Newmarket as an ambulance service. Sometimes we have to run in Exeter as an ambulance service. Sometimes we bring in Durham, ambulance service. So to make it easy for those folks, it probably makes sense to do this. And I think if all the homeowners in the neighborhood are amenable to the change, I certainly don't have any problem with that. And I can't speak for anybody else here. That's all I.
What do they do? Run a search to see if there's duplicates nearby or something like that? I mean, have to come up with something that would be.
Oh, in terms of the process, a process for name, without getting into the details, I mean, name changes are not easy. It impacts the whole general public. I mean, obviously the homeowners more so than anybody else. But even with I would suggest that even with the homeowners on board, I think makes this a fairly easy process. But I also think that it probably makes sense just to hold a public hearing, just to allow the general public to weigh in. I put it this way, my opinion is, unless there's a really good argument coming from somebody in the general public, we'll end up doing a name change if the homeowners all agree. I do think, though, it's probably worth just allowing people a venue to come and speak on it. And I think in terms of that public hearing, maybe before that hearing, the homeowners might want to, as Toby indicated, come up with 3 suggestions and, maybe a favorite or something like that. And at the public hearing, we can discuss it and, probably move very, very quickly if it seems like there's no serious reason not to change it. I think that's probably the most open, transparent way to do this. Everybody gets an opportunity and we'll move the process forward.
Can I ask about the timeline on that, about approximately how long?
We're just required 10 days. So we just have to do a 10-day notice. So, after this meeting, we can work on doing the posting. I would say by the end of August, we'll probably have it done. So
Something that's.
I don't see why it wouldn't happen that way.
Is this something we can put on the agenda for the next planning board meeting? We have enough time, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I would think that we could do it at the next planning board meeting as just a public hearing at the next planning board meeting and get it done there.
Yeah.
So I see no reason why not. Right.
Yes, I've been in the 911 lights on for years since 911 existed. And I was against this only because we changed it once. And I had a suggestion. We would do away with Lily Road and make that Dan Davis Drive. Dan Davis owned the property, had a big farmland back in the 60s. I think it would be nice to,
You're talking on Lily Lane.
if I could really, yes.
So that would be a harder one because again, my guess is the homeowners there have been there a lot longer. Yeah. And unless they all agree to it, it would have to be formally done by the town. Now, I'm not saying that it's not an option for us to consider. Again, I think discussing this issue at the public hearing is probably the appropriate venue for this, just so that everybody can hear it, everybody has an opportunity to speak and talk about it. So, no, I get your point in terms of Dan Davis. That's noted.
Just off on that point. When I was doing the research on this, I was told that the developer had Lily Lane named after his daughter in 17.
And Lyle Lane is named after this, that guy's name.
Yeah, that one was second, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I would go.
Whoever comes first, first in.
So, I will talk to the chair of the planning board. My guess is we'll have it on the agenda for the next planning board meeting, which is, off the top of your head, Jeff? Second Thursday of August is when it is. So it'll probably be sometime around August 10th or so.
Yeah, Kelleher says you need 2 weeks notice on that, so that'll be.
I think the statute requires 10 days, I believe.
Yeah, he just referenced it in his email that was sent to us. We've
So hold a public hearing for which 10 days notice has been given, posted in 2 public places. So as long as, even tomorrow, we should be within the 2 weeks, so we should be fine. But I'll talk about and see if we can't get that posted right away, so we'll plan on having a public hearing in early August. I would recommend if the homeowners have some ideas, great, that would be a great venue to discuss. And obviously, Ray, would be the venue to discuss other changes as well.
Changing the name doesn't solve the problem with the service up there.
No, well, we can't do anything about that.
How can that be improved?
How can the cell service be improved? Well, it would require a cell tower. I mean, I don't want to delve into details, but probably everybody has noticed holes have appeared in cell service over the last year. So, and there's a reason for this, and nobody ever talks about it. So when we went to 5G on the cell towers, up until very recently, the carriers were using the 5G for your data, and they were using the 3G signal for your phone bills, for the cell phone. And 3G propagates much further than 5G does. Under the conditions, though, of receiving the 5G spectrum, the phone companies were required, after a certain period of time, to give the 3G back to the federal government. So they have converted all your phone calls from the 3G, which propagates much, much farther, onto the 5G. So the 5G is now carrying your data and your voice. The problem is 5G doesn't propagate nearly as well as 3G does. And so suddenly, depending on your carrier, like I drive, down this road and into Exeter, and when you hit the red barn in the ditch, your cell's coverage drops. It's because the propagation, mainly from this tower and the one from the highway, it doesn't, because it's a 5G signal, doesn't reach into that spot. This is what has happened. So to your point, there's nothing we can do about this unless somebody wants to build a cell tower that would allow coverage in that area. Could the town build one? Yeah, I guess technically we could. And you know from Water District built this tower here. That's how better cell coverage gets addressed.
The 3G towers can be a lot smaller too, correct?
There are, basically, there's no more 3G towers.
I'm sorry, 5G are a lot smaller, correct?
Typically they are, but again, that's more of an engineering in terms of propagation, depending upon what's around them, what's the height of the tower, is it on a hill, or is it low, is it propagating along a highway, it's going to be much better. So that's an engineering question that is certainly well beyond my pay grade. But from the town standpoint, is it something the town can do? I don't know. We don't really own any property out that way.
Well, our radios, we use radios. We're responding to various 3G radios.
Do your radios work out there?
Radios work pretty good out there.
Yeah.
There's certain areas in town where radios portables don't work so well.
Right. And that all operates on 300, 600, 900 band, right?
Yeah. So, we've got a couple of options.
I think, again, one option is, again, this is really the phone companies, with the cell companies, is, that they set up some kind of repeaters in gaps, which is an option. But it's Ray, to your point, it's really one that is not really our bailiwick to, build and operate cell towers. I would love a private operator to come in and improve the cell service around here. But, they're trying to fill gaps everywhere right now. That's the problem. Anything else on Lily and Lila? No? All right, we'll work to post that, and hopefully you guys will be able to make a meeting in August. Appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, north side of Swampscott Road, the road erosion. So we discussed this at our last meeting about the Swampscott and Main Street corner.
I just took a drive by.
Yep.
There's quite a hole there, right?
Yeah.
It's always inviting that water.
It is, and it's always been that way, and again, as we talked about at the last meeting, we have no control over Main Street, and that's really where the water is coming from, right? That's all Main Street water, it's traversing either from the library or from the houses on Main Street, across Main Street, because it ends up running down Swampscott. Yeah, go ahead.
So on the 10th, Bill Meserve and Brian and I, and the homeowners walk that, walk up and down the street, and potential curbing issue, blacktop curbing, which Brian is getting that way for us
Yep.
to solve the problem. I just got a text while we were sitting, an email while I was sitting here from, they've been working with the state has been very responsive, working to turn the water coming off Main Street here, so that's kind of interesting. But
Doing an asphalt curb?
yeah, going down,
all the way
going
around.
down the Swampscott. Now, I don't, the state won't do that, but I think they're going to talk about the burning. It's rotting the
Yeah.
sills off their houses because of the water
Yeah.
coming out of that.
Now, it's understood. It's a notorious problem for that house. Pierce had similar concerns when he was on the house.
So that's just what the status is of it now.
Yep. And yeah, Brian had mentioned that we're going to look at basically an asphalt, not a full curve, but basically directional. Move the water, try to divert as much as possible. But again, the real problem is coming from the state road, and that's gonna have to be District 6.
There's no drain on that corner.
No.
No, they're fully cognizant of this
Yep.
delineation, that's not an issue for them.
Yep.
There is drainage down one pole, there's a catch basin.
Correct. And I think it's my understanding that's what Brian is really trying to do, is take as much water as he can and divert it down to that drain basin to be able to.
Then it
carry it.
fits in the pools.
Yep, exactly. But again, I mean, unless the state determines to do something, what we can do is what we can do, but the real impact is really coming off of 85 onto their property.
And what they reference they will do if they came in and moved it from state, is they're gonna put a berm in your yard to channel that water down, so it doesn't come in the house, it comes down to.
Certainly their prerogative.
We're talking to the
Yep. Yep.
help get that ditch built.
Yep. All right. Checks, manifests are done. We have prior meeting minutes. You guys can take a look at that.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I didn't have any changes. Did you guys? I'll move the minutes for July 9th, 2024, the select board, as written. Second by Hobie, all in favor? Aye. A few cleanup items from the last meeting. So I noticed that the trash numbers were disturbingly high on the expense report from last meeting. I went back with Don and went through it. Actually, there was just a small accounting that actually put a large transaction in that. So we cleaned that up. It actually, the trash and recycling was about 51% of the budget through June 30th. So that's exactly where it is here. So that is not an issue. Second thing that we talked about was, I hope you had mentioned the ARPA money. I talked to the auditors about this. They're working on this, just making some simple accounting changes, but the funds will, the remaining ARPA funds will go into undesignated fund balance. So that will all be taken care of this week. And then last thing I just want to mention, I emailed to you guys this afternoon the RFP for the Quinn Court survey. I don't want to talk about it tonight. I sent that to Derek weeks ago to have him look at it, and I'm not going to harass him on it. It's not a timely manner. But when you guys get a chance, take a look. We can talk about it at a future meeting if you have any questions or concerns about it, and hopefully we'll get the feedback from Derek before that as well. So those were the open things that I had. I don't know if you guys had anything else.
Just want to touch base on this email that showed up today at 3:26, Christina Buckland,
I didn't see it.
about clean water project, and double see the probation list and jump through your hoops.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I forwarded this one to Bill Reserve. Bill is actually, he'll be all over that.
I just wanted to address it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. No, I did see that. I thought there was a different one. But yeah, that's just making sure from the grant standpoint that we're doing what we need to do. So Bill's been coordinating with DES, Deb Lozelle, and the others up there. So we'll be on that. Anything else, Madam Mark? Yeah, go ahead.
Sunday night, we had a meeting, the first meeting of what we want to establish as a nuclear veterans
Oh, great.
association. We had about 8 or 9 of us there, Mike Kessler's house, and we're working to come up with the best way to establish this organization and set it up for charitable beneficial things for the town, really welcoming veterans camaraderie.
Are you looking to reestablish the post?
I don't think we're going to go there.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do
I was
that.
just curious.
We're
Yeah.
going to make a little entity of self-control within, and doing different charitable projects as usual. Plus taking care of you guys coming to town, recognizing you and everyone that are going into the
Yep.
service, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Oh, wonderful.
that's what we're working on, and, I talked to Sue about using town hall as our meetings.
Oh, yeah.
And just to give you a heads up, guys, a heads up on that.
Yep.
And so that, then in September, there will be a veterans picnic we're going to have, try and get, so we've got almost 7 veterans in town.
I know. For the town this size, the fact that we have almost 70 is just phenomenal. I mean, you get that in a Florida town, but you don't get that. Actually, that reminds me of one other thing. So during the 175th celebration, I came across, doing looking through the historic documents, I came across drawings of the Hilton Family Cemetery. And somebody had actually made drawings of all the individual headstones along with a map of the cemetery.
Sam seen this?
Was that?
Sam seen this?
No. Well, now he has. So I reached out to, so my thought after the celebration, I was going back to the material, my thought was, this would be a great thing to get done as a bronze plaque down at the Hilton Cemetery. So people know what they're looking at, and visually it's
Like a key.
yeah, exactly. It got it, right? Yeah. And not only that, but we could actually have some verbiage there describing the Hilton Cemetery and history of the family. So, in order to affect this, first I reached out to I was able to identify the artist who did this. I reached out to her.
When was this done?
40 years ago. She was a student at UNH. She's now a well-known artist out of the Concord area. I talked to her about it. She thought it was a wonderful idea. I reached out to the sellers, the descendants of the Hiltons, asked them if they would be comfortable with it. It is town land, but I wanted to just make sure that they were supportive of it. And both Tim and Lucy Bell are supportive. I talked to the town of Newmarket, and I've been in contact. Newmarket, I don't know if you've been up. No, where the mills are, over here in the mills, they have a beautiful bronze plaque. I talked to the company that did that, and I got some quotes for that. What I've decided to do is try to do this through the Newfields Community Fund as opposed to taxpayers. No reason for taxpayers to do it if individuals can do it, given the pricing and the quotes. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. But the last piece of this is I reached out to the cemetery trustees, Ann Elliott, Lynn Sweet, and Sam Bertram. And I'm going to sit down with them and just have a discussion with them, but they seem very supportive as well. So just want to let you guys know, be aware of it. I don't think it's going to cost the town a nickel, but it's going to occur on town property, so at the end of the day, we'll need town approval to do that. So,
What did it take?
it'll probably cost about $4,000 for the posts, plaques, and everything else. Yeah, something in that ballpark.
Just a thought on something else.
Yeah.
My wife just texted me, said, big crowd over there, so she must be watching. And then I remembered she had asked about putting in some markers on a crosswalk where the rail trail is off of Old Lee Road. So there being a crosswalk there.
Oh, installing a formal crosswalk.
Yeah.
Painting.
Painting the road.
Right.
Because people just pass there and bikers going across. So I brought it up.
No, what you should do, reach out to Frank Epstein or Road Agent about what would be required to do that, any input that you might have.
Yeah.
I would start that conversation.
Yeah.
Can I add that, please?
Yeah.
This has been brought up, because often there's a corner there from in the town there. Look, I don't recommend a crosswalk there. I don't recommend cars acting in the pedestrians there, because it's unsafe to turn that corner. But I'm sure.
Oh, you're talking about, okay, so
Yeah.
what you're referring to is that
Give it
in a
that right
formal
away.
crosswalk, pedestrians have the right of way. I got you.
So that, then we talked about putting the signs out there for pedestrians, but I don't want to confuse, because we had a resident complain that there was some pedestrian signs out there, and he said, they complained that, and I went out there, looked at it, and made a legitimate, concern. I just,
So maybe a slow,
maybe a sign that says slow pedestrians ahead, but I wouldn't want to put a crosswalk there,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't want motorists to have to yield, because
understood,
it creates a more dangerous situation, in my opinion. But, I mean, I would also consult the road agent as well.
I'll have a conversation with Brian, let us know what it is. That'd be great. Perfect. All right, any other business?
Calendar.
August. All right, let's see what we got. Today's the 23rd. I'm going to be away the 4th through the 9th, but that doesn't, whatever you guys are having me, I'm just letting you know, I'm not that week. Dates that you guys have issued with? Good?
The last week of August.
The week of the 25th through the 30th? Okay.
5 and 19. 12 and 19.
Are you looking at Tuesdays? Tuesdays are 6 and
6
20.
and 20.
Yeah, you guys can do 6 without me. I'm more than happy. Not being. 6 and 20 work for you?
6 and 20, sure.
Great, let's do 6 and 20. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, I'll move to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Great, thank you guys.
I was going to say, what's the military alphabet letter? L. What's L?
Lima. Yeah, so there it is.
Could be Lima Road.
That's a little,
That's still a little too